Many people watching this come from all over the country, even all over the world, and there might be some homes that you might think to yourself, hey, this home or this style of home is great to have where I live. But you know what, in Lansing, this might not be the case. So in this video, I'm gonna be talking about homes you should avoid while looking in Lansing, Michigan. And I'm not saying you should entirely avoid them altogether. It just definitely takes some caution with it. And in this video, I will be your honest realtor source. My name is ‵ and I'm a top producing realtor in the Greater Lansing, Michigan area. I help people all the time who are looking to make a move to the Greater Lansing, Michigan area. So whether you're looking to move here in 9 days, 90 days, 9 months from now, whatever your timeline might be, I would love to be able to chat with you, talk with you about what your timeline is, what your goals are. So if you are potentially looking to make a move here, would you do me a favor and just look at the description below? All my contact information is there, and contact me at one of those ways that you can get a hold of me. What I prefer is a Zoom call, so feel free to contact me, and get on my calendar for a Zoom call as well, just so I can talk with you face to face. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you could be the first to be notified when new episodes of my channel Lansing Michigan Live go live. And we have new episodes going live once or twice a week, so you're not gonna wanna miss those. And if at the end of the video you really like this video, I would appreciate a thumbs up. So I'm gonna be getting into homes that you should avoid while living in Greater Lansing, Michigan. And I'm telling you, like I said from the get-go, you guys are all coming from different parts of the country. And so some of these homes I'm gonna mention to you, you're gonna be like, wow, really? Like that's a home I should potentially avoid? And I'm gonna give you that reason in the video, being able to explain it to you. So without further ado, the first home that you need to avoid while moving here are homes on a slab. So if you're coming from some places where there are no basements, and your house is built on a slab, this might be like a common thing for you. Like if you're in Florida or if you're in Texas, I think Nevada is also like this. You have a home that has absolutely no basement, so where's your storage gonna be? It's gonna maybe be in a garage, or you're gonna rent a storage unit. Well, in Michigan, homes have basements. Some people differ on this opinion, but having a basement is actually a really, really desired thing here. And the reason for that is because you have storage that you can use in your basement. Because I have friends and family that I know that live in states like Texas that are on a slab house. They use their garage for storage. They don't park in their garage. Well, in Michigan, people want to park in that garage. Why? Because it is so stinking cold in our area, or it can get cold in the wintertime. So what you have to keep in mind is that when you get a home that's on a slab, are there homes that exist in Lansing that are on a slab? Yes, but it's going to be a little bit harder for resale in our area because people want to have storage. And if you don't have storage, that's gonna be something that when a buyer's looking at your home that you potentially buy, they might think to themselves, yeah, I need to have more storage. I've gotta have my garage, I've gotta have more storage places. So homes on a slab, while they are livable, they are not the most desired, and for resale, you're not gonna see as much appreciation. The second home that you should avoid are manufactured homes. Manufactured homes, and I'm gonna have a little bit of a bonus tip here too, because of my insurance background. So I say manufactured homes because the appreciation for these, they don't appreciate as much. Now, you might be able to see a manufactured home on all of this acreage and it's at an amazing price. You're like, wow, this is amazing. Why is that? Probably because it's a manufactured home. So manufactured homes, honestly, they could have basements in them. They aren't just on a slab, some of them could be, but some of them do have basements, but they are more cheap to be able to build. And so again, with the resale of these, people see that the quality is cheaper and they might not go for it. So take caution with that. But the other thing you need to take caution on with a manufactured home is that if it is more than 40 years old, you shouldn't buy it because you won't be able to get that home insured. In fact, insurance companies, they have a year built that it will be the oldest that they would be able to take on a manufactured home. And there could be all sorts of reasons why they don't want to take on that risk. It could be that a lot of the materials for manufactured homes don't last as long. It could also be that the value of that home has just gone down so much because it's 40 years old that if you do look to put insurance on it, the cost to rebuild it, there's really going to be no point. But you want to find manufactured homes that are 40 years old or newer. That's, if you're going to get a manufactured home, that's what you've also got to keep in mind. Number 3, and I'm gonna spend a little bit more time on this one than the others because there are a lot of misconceptions with this, It's foreclosures and auction homes. I'm putting them together. Why? Because I know how you guys are. You look on your Zillow search and you see foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, auction, like those are checkboxes that you have there on your Zillow search filters. So you see them and it says in foreclosure, and then you ask your agent, hey, is this on the market? And like we look and we're like, no, that's not on the market. I don't know how Zillow has access to some of these records. The thing about foreclosures in Lansing right now that you have to be aware of is that there are not a lot of foreclosures. And if you think about the law of supply and demand, if there is a larger supply, okay, then what you have to keep in mind, if there's a large supply of foreclosures, then that price will go down. But if there's not a lot of foreclosures, that price is going to stay high. So we do not have a lot of foreclosures in Lansing. So what does that mean? You're not gonna get that great of a deal. But the thing you also have to keep in mind with foreclosures, it is a mental thing. All you see on the internet are pictures of a home. That's all you see. But what you don't see is the backstory of how they got there, because there were missed payments, they lost everything. So the people who owned it, it's taken a mental toll on them. It could be a horrible situation. So when you go into foreclosures, you see appliances ripped out. You could see damage everywhere. Why? Because some people have just lost their minds because they've lost all this money. So again, you just have to be aware that a foreclosure, even though it looks like it could potentially be a good deal, there are going to be more problems with it. With an auction house, the difference between an auction house and foreclosure, an auction house is that it's not owned by a bank. So you go to an auction site to where you can bid on the house, you can make a bid. And with an auction place, if you have the highest bid, you get it. Auction houses though, typically will not let you do inspections. Sometimes they might let you see the house, sometimes they might not. So you run into all of these issues potentially with an auction house. Here's the other thing to keep in mind with foreclosure and auction homes is that title might not necessarily be clear. So what does that mean when you decide to own a home? So how does this affect the ownership of your house and putting title in your name? What you have to keep in mind is if they were late on payments, they could be late on their taxes. And what happens when you're late on your property taxes is there is a lien on that house and it's gonna be added to your title policy when you decide to sell. Well, if the bank owns it or if the auction place owns it, guess who that typically falls to, that lien, that additional payment? It falls to you as the buyer. In fact, when you buy a foreclosure or auction property, you also might be responsible for the state and county transfer taxes, which is also usually the responsibility of a seller. You might be responsible for getting your own title policy. There's all these other fees involved with a foreclosure or an auction property. So I say, really use a lot of caution with these properties because if it seems like it's too good to be true, it doesn't always mean like it's gonna be the best thing for you, right? So I'm not saying that you can't ever get a diamond in the rough, okay? I'm not saying that that can't be possible, but you have to use extreme caution because it's a lot more than just seeing a photo of a house that seems like it's a discount and then, hey, I'm just gonna go ahead, buy it and snag it. There's a whole lot of problems that could come up. Number 4, and this is again, something for you to definitely be aware of, are condo associations over 30 years old. So you're like, but that's not a house, right? Well, no, because condos are in that condo association. So go with me here, okay? Why do I say 30 years old? When condo associations get started, condo associations will typically take care of your lawn care, your snow removal. But typically with condos, you also can have your roof covered, your siding covered, your windows covered. All these things on the exterior of your place that you're living at can be covered by the association. It can be an amazing perk. However, lots of association boards don't know how to balance a budget. So what I've run into in Lansing, especially in 광괜₱ᴜ, there are some condos that look like they're very, very affordable. They might be $200,000, $250,000, $300,000, but their association fees are like $500 or $600 a month. Why is that? Because after 30 years for some of these, their roofs are old, their siding's old. So they have to replace all of the association's roofs, their siding, they might go in stages. You know what they also might do if they didn't balance their budget correctly? They might charge you what's known as a special assessment. And a special assessment is where we don't have enough money in our budget to be able to cover these things. So we're going to charge all the homeowners an additional fee per month for a certain period of time. I mean, there's a vote on it, but if it gets approved, you have no say. And I'm seeing some of these assessments last for 2-3 years, and it might be another $200 a month. So in some of these associations in our area, if they are older, some people are paying $700 a month just on association fees. So yes, while they might have a lower cost condo, there's a reason, because your association dues are so high. I say all this because some of you might be looking for a condo. I'm not saying all condos are bad, but you definitely, and this is what I do when I have somebody look at a condo, you definitely want to have in your offer for a condo, you want to be able to have like a stipulation in there, a contingency of looking at the bylaws, but also looking at the past month's financials and the past month's minutes from the board, because you want to be sure that there's not going to be this upcoming assessment. And you want to look at the financials to make sure that they are in good standing. So just buying a condo doesn't mean putting together a contract and getting it for a good purchase price, doing your inspections, and that's it. There are other things you want to consider. So I'm not saying that all associations over 30 years old are bad, but you definitely want to have caution when buying those types of properties. Number 5 are co-ops. Are co-ops. You could be coming from a major city. These are more popular in a major city, where if you live in a co-op, it is different than a condo because you don't own anything really. You don't really own real estate. The deed's not officially in your name. So you own a share in a corporation. And there is one place that has a co-op in our area in 𝐼𝐸. If you've ever looked on Zillow and you find these places, these are extremely affordable co-ops. They're like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. So you're looking at them and you're going, man, like this has got to be too good to be true. I can't believe this. This is amazing. But what you have to keep in mind is that you've got to have a lot of cash up front down, because you have a mortgage that will never be paid off that you have to continue to pay on. Then you have another down payment that you have to do, plus you have to get board approval before you even get approved for this. So to think of it as maybe a rental possibility might not be the best thing, because you have to get approval by that co-op. Co-ops, I'm just letting you know, look extremely cheap. You're like, wow, why don't I look into this? Especially if it's maybe my first time buying, I should look into this. And some of them are really nice apartments. That's why I like to call them. They have an apartment style to them. But again, proceed with caution, because you need to know that these are too good to be true, because you are going to have a lot of money down, which you probably don't have if you're thinking of this as a first home, okay? Number 6, this has to do with your goals entirely. It's new construction homes if you're not staying for 5 or more years. And this is where we have a conversation together on a Zoom call where I sit down with you and I'm like, hey, how long are you looking to potentially live here? It's an important thing to talk about, because I do have videos on new construction homes. And right now people are saying, hey, if you want to have a house that you can have whatever floor plan you want, you can have whatever finish you want, new construction's the way to go. And I'm telling you, just because of being a listing agent in our area as well, people that have tried to sell their new construction homes within 2, 3, 4, 5 years after buying it might have to take a loss on it. Now they might have put a decent amount of money down, and so they might get some money back, but they didn't gain money on it. And the reason for that is because new construction homes right now, the costs to build are extremely high. We just had tariffs that happened, COVID happened, and prices went through the roof during that time. And I just had a client that they wanted me to look at their house. So they didn't buy the house through me, they just bought it directly through the builder, but they wanted to see how much equity they could get into their house. And I looked at the figures and the numbers and what things have sold for. And I had to have the difficult conversation of, guess what, guys? You actually are going to lose money from what you paid into it. And I've had that happen with another client that built a new home. With this person, that I had, they built a home, and after a year, they were called to a job down in North Carolina. And I had to have that difficult conversation with them that, guys, like, this is what your home's worth right now. And they were realistic, they understood it, and I felt bad for them. But again, they had made the choice to buy that house and then to move somewhere else. And again, you can't predict the future. I'm a firm believer in that. You have no idea what's going to happen in life, but if you do know, like, hey, this is a short-term plan, like I'm not planning on living in Lansing for longer than 5 years, then maybe you should steer clear of a new construction home, even though it looks nice and shiny and just great to be able to have, because you would have everything brand spanking new. So I have a couple additional ones as well that I want to share with you. So this is like, I guess, number 7 and number 8, but I can kind of consider these bonuses as well to share with you of things to look out for, some things to avoid when looking into a home. So the first thing to stay away from, or the first home to stay away from, are homes with what I like to call deferred maintenance. So homes with deferred maintenance. So what does that mean? So that means you could have a house that has a 25-year-old roof. You could have a house that has a 25-year-old furnace. You could have windows that are original and could be 50 years old. And I've seen this happen time and time again, that there are flippers that come into a house, or people that do all of this work. And I like to call it, it's kind of like lipstick on a pig, okay? What do I mean by lipstick on a pig? It's that they go in, they make the kitchen look great, they update the finishes, they make everything look like, from the flooring look great, and they do absolutely nothing to the furnace, to potentially the AC as well, to the windows, to the roof, to the water heater. And people get so attracted to these new finishes, they're like, I've gotta have it. And there might not be a talk about, hey, I could have $30,000 or $40,000 worth of stuff I might have to do in the next year or two. Why? Because these things are so old. So I say that, yes, you could have the shiny new things. You could look online and you could see all these updates. But if that roof is 25 to 30 years old, it's towards the end of life in Michigan. If that furnace is 25 to 30 years old, that furnace is towards the end of life in Michigan, and that's gonna cost you $8,000 to $10,000. Roof's gonna cost you $15,000 to $20,000. AC, if it's old and it fails, that's gonna cost you another $5,000 to $6,000. Windows across the whole house could cost you $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, depending on what quality window that you are looking to get. These are not small price tags on these things. So really, you have to watch out for those homes where you're going to have to maybe shell out a lot of money. If you have that money saved, great, and you love the house, great. But you definitely have to make sure that what I like to call the maintenance of the house has been kept up. And then the second thing that I want you to take caution on is too good to be true pricing. I kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but you might see some homes when you're looking that are below $100,000 in Lansing. And I'm telling you, if they're below $100,000 in Lansing, there is a reason. It's not because seller didn't know how much their house was worth, okay? It could be location issues. It could be on a major road. And that's where, like a realtor, like myself, where I could tell you, like, hey, there's a lot of traffic on this road. Are you sure that you want to live on this road? Foundation issues could be the cause, and you're only going to know that if you walk inside the property. Or maybe there could be like just functional layout flaws that are within there, some deferred maintenance. So the too good to be true pricing, if you see homes within, a certain area, a certain neighborhood, and you've seen them for this high for average, and you're like, whoa, why is this one so cheap? I'm telling you, there's a reason. It could be smoke in the house. You don't know until you walk in, right? So I say that to you because you just have to be very cautious with the too good to be true pricing, because we have plenty of agents in our area that know how to price a home. It's not like they missed out on something, okay? Well, hopefully this episode of Lansing Michigan Life was really beneficial to you. If you are looking to make a move anytime soon, feel free to contact me at any time, and my contact information is in the description below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because then you'll be notified of new episodes of Lansing Michigan Life going live. So again, folks, I thank you so much for watching this, and I hope you now have a better understanding of what homes are like in Michigan and some of the homes that you should maybe avoid. Especially if you're coming from a different area. This home could have been okay in this area, but maybe not in Michigan. So hopefully you're more well educated. And until next time, everybody, take care and make it a great day.